pretty much,
Okay.
we want to go ahead and make this a success. And we know that, or we like the way you work, man. I'm always amazed. I wanted to go ahead and tell you that I was listening to your calls today. Uh, I have no words, man. The way you listen,
Really?
the way you try to approach people, the way you
Which
try to
call were you listening to?
I was listening to calls. I was listening to, let me tell you which is the name. I heard two calls from you on today, and I wanted to say that, man, it's like something in your veins. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but the way you talk to people is amazing, man. I wish
I
everybody
appreciate that.
did that, man. Hold on, let me see. What's the name of the seller? Oh God, Richard the Shields, and the other one is Margaret Norris, a lady
Margaret.
that
Yeah,
needs to
Margaret.
move, that she needs to find out first the place. So,
Yeah.
man, your calls
That,
are stories. I can tell you that are stories
yeah.
to tell.
Yeah, especially that Margaret call. That's one of those situations where, in order to qualify a lead, they need to meet what John Lalana NEPQ calls EMOTA, right?
Uh-huh.
And part of that is just, do they have the equity, right? Do they have the motivation? Do
Hmm.
they actually own the property?
Hmm.
What's their timeline? And can they actually take action, right? EMOTA.
Your trial. Yeah.
With her situation is perfect except for the equity. What
Yeah, I
she
know.
like, what she wants for the property, even if I gave it to her, she still wouldn't be able to, even if I wanted to give it to her. That's not enough equity there. She owes way too much money. Like she owes about $60,000 in
More
like
or
debt,
less.
and the property's worth
Yeah,
70.
and I believe she's also in a really, really difficult area. Get your
Very
that.
difficult,
Yeah.
not only difficult area, but she wants to use the money she gets from the property to buy another one. And her price point is like 45,000, $50,000 to buy a whole nother property. Like the
No,
chances of that is
difficult.
just like so low. Like, so she's motivated. I know she's definitely closable. Could definitely close her. There's just
Hmm.
not enough there. It's too much debt on the property. But
A lot.
that
That
to me,
that's gonna get into your end, man.
yeah, I mean, no, like I couldn't, like under no circumstances I could lock it up. Like even if I wanted to give her the price that she wanted,
Hmm.
like she wants like 120 for the property. Fixed up, it's worth 120. Perfect
Hmm.
condition,
After
it's worth 120.
that's with the ARV, right?
ARV, the
120.
after repair value, it's worth 120. So, um, yeah, there's just no equity there.
All right. No, let's keep on rolling, man. That's totally
Yeah, but I
understandable. Let's talk
appreciate the
about.
feedback.
No, that's fine, man. I like the way you talk. I like the way you approach. No matter what's the situation, you're always there trying to understand and try to overcome what's happening on their end. And that's great, man. You have
Mhm.
something simple that a lot of people lack.
Well, I appreciate that.
Listen, you listen. If you listen, that's the most important thing. If you listen and you try to see not okay, not always we're gonna be listening to something good or we're gonna be hearing something good on their end. But no matter what,
Yeah.
you listen. And upon that, you do your magic. That's how I call it. You do your magic. And people ask me, where's Watson? We haven't heard about him in 2 weeks. Oh, I know him. He might be working in some cellar that when he gets someone out and he definitely focuses on that, he disappears for a week or a week and a half, and then he appears.
Yeah.
And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, boom, that property's under contract. I know Watson.
Yep. Yep.
That's what
That's
I
the
tell the
move.
team. And that's how you are. I know how you work, so that's why I tend to gotta give your space, your time. And I know that sometimes when you're not responsive or none of those things is because not you're not accountable, it's because you're busy with some seller and you're trying to go out and
Absolutely.
find out something. I know you, man. I know you from
Yeah.
the very beginning. So that's great. Man, let's talk about Heather.
Yes.
I wanted to go ahead and ask you, what's the acquisition price on this property?
$31,250. We have that one under contract for that price.
31,200. Okay. Expected what is the expected sell price?
That's a good question. I'm expecting it to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 49,000.
49,000? Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm. Now, knowing that, what is the assignment fee? Or what do you think it's going to be?
If I can like just talk about this one a little bit. This is a mobile home,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot more challenging than what I thought it
Mm-hmm.
would be because mobile homes are selling for the last one that sold in the neighborhood was 68,000. So I
Mm-hmm.
figured that getting it on a contract for somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 may serve the purpose of getting them out of the property. Um, and well on their way to move to Las Vegas. However, because it's a mobile home, whoever and it's like a mobile home park,
Mm-hmm.
it's the criteria for an investor to buy it is they have to get approved to buy the mobile home, right? Buy the mobile home homeowners association. So that's a challenge.
So
And
this
I
is one
spoke
of the
to
properties you got in those like 55 plus communities or like
it's
the,
it's a mobile home community. So it's like a trailer park community.
but they don't owe the
Um,
land
they don't own the land. That's what it
exactly
is.
own.
So
Okay.
that's a challenge. That's a challenge because if they don't own the land, and what I'm finding is that investors, they're not really happy about going into a situation like that. The investors that I spoke to would rather avoid mobile homes altogether because of like the red tape and the bureaucracy and having to deal with the homeowners mobile home park association. So I did speak to a realtor today with regards to this one, to get some feedback on what's really going on in the neighborhood and in the area. And fortunately, she was able to sell one at $45,000, but she
More or
was able
less.
to sell it to someone who's going to eventually live there, not someone who's going to invest in it. So when you
Okay.
ask what's the potential assignment fee, I'm going to market it at this point at 55. But given that this is most likely going to have to turn into a novation deal where we put it on the market and get a retail buyer,
That answers my question.
we're probably going to end up moving this one somewhere in the neighborhood of like 45, 49. That's my best guess on it.
Okay, brother. Now, time to close. That's going to be on April 3rd, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. And that's another challenge, right? Because my title
Mhm.
company, they don't do title insurance for mobile homes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to find a title company that is willing to do that. And what I did hear this morning was that from the agent is that some of these mobile home park associations, they handle the transfer of title and the deed and everything like that. So we may have to use them to do that. So that April 3rd timeline is going to be dependent on either a title company that we're using to actually pull title and get and clear it,
Yeah.
right? That can actually do mobile homes, or B, going straight through the homeowners association and having them do that process. I'm
Hmm.
assuming it's probably going to be faster if we go through the mobile home
Hmm.
association, but April 3rd is the goal.
Now, when you say challenge on your end, I don't see it as a problem with Watson. Because the word
You know, so,
challenge for you doesn't exist. You say challenge, and the more that is challenging for you, man, the bet something good is gonna happen from that. I can tell you that. I've seen it
yeah,
this since I know since the first time we talked. All listen to this. All the properties that you have been putting on their contract have been a challenge.
yes, all of them,
But you but
all of
but you
them.
were able to overcome all those challenges. So when you tell me it's a challenge, my head is thinking already, Watson already has a plan.
I, yeah, I have a plan. So here's my personal belief about challenges. I like nothing's impossible.
Exactly.
But not everything is worth it, right? So
Exactly. I
that's
agree.
the
Yeah.
distinction that I have to make. Like sometimes, like most of the time, I have a like I told you before, I have a delusional belief in my ability to solve problems. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
like crazy. But I have to then temper that with, okay, Watson, is this worth your time? right? Is this worth the effort? Could you be
Mm-hmm.
doing something else that can yield you a better result as opposed to like spending so much time here? So yeah, it's a challenge. And with this one specifically, I'm exploring like all the alternatives and options as far as either A, putting it on the market. I'm gonna blast it out to my buyers list most
Mm-hmm.
likely today, if not
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
see if I could get some traction on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then again, like if I'm hearing crickets, then I'll just make the referral to an agent and say, hey, look, here's an agent. I know, like we have our deal there, but you're gonna need somebody that's gonna come in and just buy this thing outright with cash and live in it instead of an investor.
All
So
right.
it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna get solved one way or another. It's just a matter
I
of
know.
how
I know
and
you will.
whether or not it's worth my time to go into the wholesale route as opposed to either a novation or just referring it to an agent route.
All right. Well, nice to know that, man. What is the motivation for them to go ahead and sell? I believe you said they're gonna go ahead and relocate.
Yeah, they want to relocate.
Okay.
So this is where I think if I had to go back into the call, there's probably some more motivation that I did not uncover. There's some urgency there. So on one end, the it's a couple,
Mm-hmm.
fiance, woman and her fiance, they want to sell. Woman wants to move to Vegas, husband wants to move to, fiance wants to move to North Carolina, but they
Yeah.
just want to get out. They haven't figured out exactly where they're going to go just yet. The challenge that I think that they're having now, and I have to follow up. When I follow up and give them a call to pitch innovation, I'm going to find out what's really going on because it seems like because they don't own the land, and this is me
Mm-hmm.
guessing here. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll probably hear the next call with them
Mm-hmm.
to find out whether or not this is true. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're behind on their homeowners association dues and they are getting
So
ready
they
to get
owe.
kicked out. Yeah.
Yeah, they know they
Which is
owe, so
why.
they need to move.
So yeah, so they owe, they don't know where they're gonna go, but they gotta get out of here.
Hmm.
Right.
That's
That don't
that's
make
like
sense.
that sounds for me like a good riddance on their end.
Yeah. So, like, in what world do you leave your home to move in with a friend and not have a plan for where you're going to move to next? Like, there's got to be some urgency there, right? Like,
Exactly.
if I'm going to move, I want to have an idea of where I'm going to go, or if I'm going to move in with a friend, it's just because I know where I'm going to go, and my friend is just a stop on the way, right? But to not know where you're going to go, and then move in with your friend and figure it out when you get there, that
Yeah, I
that
know it's all
that that to
hassle.
me, yeah, there's a level of urgency there, and I had no idea that they didn't own the land. I don't know anything about mobile parks, so that didn't even cross my mind. But the more I
Right.
learned about, the homeowners association or the mobile park association and how there's fees and that there's dues, and I'm like, wait a second. Maybe, of course, they want to leave, and if she wants to go to Vegas to spend time with her cousin, but maybe they about to get kicked out and they gotta, make a couple dollars on their way out so that they can, once they get their money, they'll figure it
Could
out from
be.
there.
Could be. Could be. Could be. I believe that that could be a problem, but not a problem on your end, but on a problem. That's their problem, of
Yeah.
course. So, of course, they don't want to go out and say that, but they don't know who they're talking to, so you're gonna go ahead and figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, and
You'll
the
end
thing is,
up
if
knowing that on your end.
at some
So,
point I'm gonna figure it out, I'm gonna find out what's going on. I'm gonna get underneath it.
exactly.
I'm gonna
That's
be
gonna
that
help you
that
more,
dad that
create
knows
more.
exactly where my son and daughter is. They thought they snuck out the house, but I know exactly what's going on because I'm gonna find out. So
Yeah, I know
I
you
I
will.
figured it out. I'm gonna have a conversation with them about it. And there's
Hmm.
a part of me that thinks that the $30,000 price point that we got it under contract for is good.
Hmm.
And it can get the deal done.
The
But
more that you know, because if this is going to be true, like what we're actually talking about, like you're thinking, okay, I might think this is the problem on their end. The more that they will have to go with that out,
yeah, yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah.
simple.
So
Now,
mhm.
this is where. Where is this property actually at? Was this out of Philly?
Yeah, way out of Philly. This is in
Where?
Walnut Port, Pennsylvania,
Oh,
Northampton County,
yeah,
way
I know where's
outside of
that.
my market. And that's why I wanted to price it the way that I did,
Mm-hmm.
simply because if some of the properties are selling for 68 and there's no evidence of anything else going on, and it's a mobile home park, and I don't know what's, how investors move in that area, not a lot of
I've
comps.
seen this
I wanted
before.
to I wanted to like at least get it at half the price so
Mm-hmm.
that in the event that my analysis is somewhat wrong and I don't think I could sell it in like the the 50s, at least I could
Mm-hmm.
sell it in the 40s, right?
Mm-hmm. Got it. So how
And
much,
still make
knowing
out
that,
positive.
how much they were asking before you gave them an offer or something?
They were asking between 40 and 50. I think their first initial number was 45.
45. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. And your final offer was how much? You said or is it gonna be how much?
It was 30. Let me take a look at this here. 31,250. That was my final offer. And
They
that's the offer
decided to
that
go
they
with it.
accepted.
So you're telling me, in other words, this has been a difficult deal to close up?
And it wasn't a difficult deal to get in a contract. Quite
Mm-hmm.
frankly, like the negotiation part of it was easy, probably too easy, which is why I'm like my antennas are up. I'm like, wait a second, I know I'm good, but am I that good? Like, uh, maybe I am, but I'm like, it was just too easy to negotiate, and there's some
Mm-hmm.
like other issues going on. But now trying to disposition the property, I'm running into
Yeah, where
roadblocks.
that's where always there's gonna be a challenge, of course.
Yeah, I'm not going to the property. Like this is like maybe what 2+ hours away from Philly, out in the middle of Pennsylvania. So I'm not going there. So I have to learn about the market, learn about mobile
But
homes.
that's a challenge, you know. I don't see it as a bad thing. I know that
No,
as an investor, you have certain areas that you work at, you feel comfortable with. You have your buyers, you have your own business settled in certain
absolutely.
place. But the fact that you're telling me this is a positive thing because you're always open to go ahead and do new things and learn from other new experiences, which is this is a total new one for you, man.
Yeah, total new one. So like the one thing I know about me, right? I can't say this for everybody.
Yeah,
Me.
exactly. Hmm.
I've never been the one to have like all the resources. I never have. I'm not the one to have all the money in the world just to throw it at things and solve problems. So I've never
Hmm.
had all the resources, but I have been the most resourceful person I know because I'll figure it out, right? So that's what I think is going to be necessary in this one, right? Don't really have all the resources available to me right now to disposition this one. But like you're mentioning, it's a learning experience and an opportunity for me to figure it out so that in the future, if I come across it again, I know exactly how to move with it.
Yeah, that's a great conclusion, man. I think the same way as you and what's happening on your end, because it's not only the fact that you're experiencing something like this, but it's the fact that from the first time that you talk with these people until now, you're making things possible. That's what matters.
Yeah.
That's what matters, man. And that's something that every time that I have to go ahead and do a success case with you, man, it's a story. You tell stories, man. Definitely, you
Yeah.
tell stories,
That's
and
what it
it's
is,
an
man.
interesting thing the way you tell them, the way you overcome all those stories. And then there's a problem, and after that problem, there's something that you need to go ahead and overcome with, and you come up with a new idea. But then after you came up with that new idea, there's another problem. So at the end of the day, you solve it, and you're
Yep.
always solving those problems. So that's a positive thing on your end, man. I
Yeah.
can tell.
100%. 100%.
That's
100%.
that's success. That's what I call success. That's building up a business, being open
Yep.
to everything and knowing how you're gonna go ahead and approach it, and sometimes not even knowing how you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
It's even
Blind in the
better.
dark. Yeah.
That will
Absolutely.
take you always to success, man. So I want to congratulate you on that, man. I can tell you, not only on this one, on the other properties that you've been able to overcome all those problems. It's amazing the way you do it, man. It's
Thank you. I
amazing.
appreciate it.
All right, that was it for our success call. This is gonna be edited, of
Yeah.
course.